Hey there, everybody. Welcome. We're in the middle of a study called A Man After God's Own Heart, the life of David in the Bible. And that's speaking of King David. You may know him from David and Goliath, David and Bathsheba, among many other things. We're going to 1 Samuel 24 today. Old Testament, of course, 1 Samuel chapter number 24, and we're going to see the integrity of David revealed in a significant way. Saul, the king of Israel, who God has told through the prophet Samuel is going to be removed from the throne and removed as king of Israel, has been pursuing David. David is his son-in-law. He's married to his daughter, Michal. He also is one of the great generals in his army. He has done much good for the nation of Israel and for King Saul himself. But in Saul's jealousy and envy, he's been pursuing David to kill him. Well, now David has moved down to a place called En-Gedi, and David and Saul cross paths here. So 1 Samuel 24, verse number 1, and it came to pass when Saul was returned from following the Philistines that it was told him, saying, Behold, David is in the wilderness of En-Gedi. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats. So Saul has 3,000 men. If we remember, David started with 400, and then his army grew to about 600. So 3,000 versus 6,000, Saul is coming after him with 3,000 versus 600. Saul has 5 times the number of men that David has. So, verse 3, he came to the sheepcotes by the way, where was a cave. And Saul went in to cover his feet, or to take a nap. And David and his men remained in the sides of the cave. So you call that a coincidence, perhaps? David is already hiding out in this cave, and Saul comes in and lays down to take a nap. How about that? So here it is. If you're David and your father-in-law, the king, has been chasing after you, pursuing you, he's already thrown javelins at you, trying to kill you. He's sworn to destroy you. He killed 85 priests of God, including a man who helped you in a significant fashion. You have him dead to rights, don't you? Saul is there in the cave. He's asleep, and David is standing right there with a sword in his hand. What is David going to do? Verse 4, And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day of which the Lord said unto thee, Behold, I will deliver thine enemy into thine hand, that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee. So David's men say to him, Hey, God told you he would deliver Saul into your hand, and you can do to him what seems good to you to do. And David has the opportunity. Verse 4, the end of it, Then David arose and cut off the skirt, or the bottom portion of Saul's robe privily, meaning quietly, stealthily, privately. He didn't do it to arouse or to get Saul to wake up. He did it secretly. Verse number 5, And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Saul's skirt. Now we're getting ready to see a couple speeches by David in this chapter. So the first thing David does, his men say, Here, kill him. You have the chance, kill him. But he doesn't kill him. Instead, he cuts off a piece of fabric from the bottom of his skirt there. And even after doing that, he says, I shouldn't have done that. He didn't kill him, didn't harm him, didn't threaten him, didn't maybe put his knife to his throat and then wake him up and say, I got you now, what are you going to do? He just cuts off a piece of fabric to show Saul he could have done it. But even that convicts the heart of David. David says, I don't want to be the guy who threatens the king, the anointed of God. Remember, David was anointed to be king, but so was Saul. And here's the thing, if God puts someone into a position, it's God's job to remove that person from the position. David said, it's not my place to remove the king of Israel. Verse 6, and he said unto his men, this is the first speech of David, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch forth mine hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord. So David said, I should have never done this thing. He is my master. He keeps the relationship paramount in his mind. The Lord's anointed. He recognizes that God's hand is on Saul. He says, I have no right to stretch forth mine hand against him because he is the anointed of the Lord. Very wise of David and very integrous of David. Verse 7, so David stayed his servants with these words and suffered them not to rise against Saul. But Saul rose up out of the cave and went on his way. So David's men follow his lead. They don't do any harm to Saul. They honor the wishes of David. In the meantime, Saul wakes up and he walks out of the cave. Let's see what happens. Verse 8, David also arose afterward and went out of the cave and cried after Saul, saying, so David comes out of the cave entrance, and Saul has gone a little distance now, and David begins a second speech. My lord the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed himself. Look at the humility of David. Look at the respect of David. Again, the integrity of David. He bows down to the earth before the king. And David said to Saul, wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, behold, David seeketh thy hurt? David says, where did you get the idea, or who told you I was trying to hurt you? Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that the Lord had delivered thee today into mine hand in the cave. And some bade me kill thee, but mine eye spared thee. I said, I will not put forth mine hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. And David tells Saul, I didn't do anything to you. Some told me I should. Some said I should kill you, but I didn't do it. And whoever's telling you that I'm seeking your hurt, you need to ignore them and view them as liars, because I just had the opportunity to, and I didn't do it. He continues, verse 11, moreover, my father, see the skirt of thy robe in mine hand. I imagine he was holding it up for Saul to see. For in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe. Can you see Saul then grabbing his cloak or his jacket and looking down and seeing the part that David had cut off? And killed thee not. Know thou and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in mine hand, and I have not sinned against thee, yet thou huntest my soul to take it. David says, I don't know why you have this problem with me. I don't know who's been telling you I'm trying to kill you, but I just had the chance to kill you. People encouraged me to kill you, but I didn't. And to prove it, look at this fabric. It's yours, isn't it? I had a chance, but I didn't do so, but you're hunting me. Then he says, the Lord judge between me and thee, and the Lord avenge me of thee, but mine hand shall not be upon thee. Boy, what integrity David is showing to tell Saul, look, God's going to sort this out between you and me, but he's not going to use me to do it. I'm not going to lift my hand against you. As saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness proceedeth from the wicked, but mine hand shall not be upon thee. After whom is the king of Israel come out? After whom dost thou pursue? After a dead dog, after a flea. David says, why are you chasing me? I'm nothing. You're the king. I'm a flea. You're the king of Israel. I'm a dead dog. Why are you chasing me? The Lord therefore be judge, and judge between me and thee, and see and plead my cause, and deliver me out of thine hand. And it came to pass, when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that Saul said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. David's words moved Saul. David's action, or should we say failure to act, moved Saul. And he said to David, Thou art more righteous than I. And he's right. David is more righteous than Saul, for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I have rewarded thee evil. And thou hast showed this day how that thou hast dealt well with me, for as much as when the Lord had delivered me into thine hand, thou killest me not. For if a man find his enemy, will he let him go well away? Saul understands now David's not his enemy, or David would have killed him. Wherefore the Lord reward thee good for that thou hast done unto me this day. And Saul requests that God bless David for his kindness to Saul. Kindness, he didn't kill him. And now behold, I know well that thou shalt surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in thine hand. Swear now therefore unto me by the Lord, that thou wilt not cut off my seed after me, and that thou wilt not destroy my name out of my father's house. So Saul makes a request of David and says, Look, I know you're going to be the king of Israel. It is clear. You're a better man than I am. And that takes some humility for Saul to admit that. And he says, Please make a promise to me, swear by the Lord, that you will not kill all of my children after I die, and that you will not destroy my name out of the city from which I came. And David sware unto Saul, and Saul went home. But David and his men gat them up unto the hold. So David understands the nature of Saul. He knows that Saul is not the kind of guy who is going to let things go easily. He had already promised Jonathan he wouldn't hurt David, and yet he came after him again. And so David knows that this isn't over, but for the time being, he has a respite. He's got some time to not worry so much that Saul's trying to kill him, but we know Saul, he'll be right back. So what's the point of the chapter here? It's the integrity of David. When given the chance to enact vengeance upon his enemy, David didn't take it. There's a scripture that says, Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. We're not supposed to seek revenge from our enemies. We're not supposed to seek vengeance on our own, and David is a great example of this. He knows he's done nothing wrong, but he's showing Saul, hey, I could hurt you, but I didn't. I'm on your side. And even if Saul wasn't willing to back off, he's not going to do it for the Lord's sake of not touching the anointed of God. Very, very integrous of David. All right, thanks so much for watching today. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.